Well, guys, we've actually got some good news here for a change. In fact, it's very good news for English towns bordering the socialist states of Scotland and Wales, but it's also good news for everyone if you ask me. Yes, it talks about refugees, which is something I'm not normally supportive of, but these are actually refugees we don't mind coming. They're not here to sponge off us or anything like that. They're here to spend a bit of money and have a good time for New Year's Eve. Now, you might know that Old Fish Lips and Tosspot Drakeford have shut down nightclubs and limited hospitality with rules of 6, table service, social distancing and all that crap. You know, the stuff that didn't work last time, while Boris Johnson has so far decided against more restrictions. This obviously heaps pressure on Fish Lips and Co, as businesses in England will see a bumper payday while Scottish and Welsh businesses get shafted. This should also help wake up most of the businesses affected by it, and even some of them that are not. Like I said, that's always good news. Now, apparently, Scottish towns and cities looked like ghost towns last night, despite it being a bank holiday, because these lunatic rules have come into force, so we don't even need to wait until New Year to see what damage is being done. This is something the Mail has picked up on, clearly gloating about the fact that England is open while Sturgeon and Drakeford have shut down Scotland and Wales's New Year's celebrations. This is obviously great news and pretty funny, it's gotta be said. The Mail headlines, English border regions brace for New Year invasion. Thousands of COVID refugees expected from Scotland and Wales after Nicola Sturgeon and Mark Drakeford's crackdown on hospitality leaves England the only country free to party. Obviously, like I said, making them both look like a complete bunch of tits, but I don't think it's going to change the course that they're on. It says city centres in Scotland and Wales were pictured desolate and lifeless last night amid the introduction of new COVID restrictions for pubs and clubs, which included the rule of 6 and social distancing for thousands of venues. Meanwhile, revellers let their hair down in England after Health Secretary Sajid Javid confirmed no rules would be put in place before the end of the year. Yeah, that's because they know that the public ain't listening and they're in such shit that they couldn't even do it if they tried. It goes on, as a result, people living in areas where venues have been shut down have taken to social media to share their plans to cross the border and enjoy a night out on the town in areas such as Bristol and Newcastle. So there you go, guys up north, you're going to get yourself a nice little bumper payday if you're open on New Year's Eve. In fact, if you weren't planning to, then it might well be a good idea to go and do it, though I expect all hospitality will be open, doors swinging and letting people come in and enjoying their night as they should be. It says pubs in such areas are already preparing for an influx of customers, with one venue admitting they're expecting coaches full of revellers to arrive on New Year's Eve. Once again, fucking great news, I've got to say. Meanwhile, lockdown businesses have been left furious by the new rules, particularly in Scotland, where many would have been banking on substantial sales around Hogmanay celebrations. Yeah, because Old Fish Lips cancelled that as well. Donald MacLeod, owner of a number of night spots in Glasgow, told the Scottish Sun, the irony is clear. A world-famous Scottish tradition is banned and the hospitality sector is paralysed by a party that claims it's sticking up for the people of Scotland. Well, I've got to say, that is perfectly put, and I couldn't have actually said it better myself. What a way to shit on the SNP, I'm sure 99.9% of you guys would agree. He said, I think a lot of people will go down south, but most will do the very thing we're trying to avoid and gather together in houses and say to hell with these restrictions, which of course they bloody will. He finishes up with Scottish hospitality, retail, leisure and live music sectors have all been destroyed over the last 3 weeks. We've really been kicked in the knackers unnecessarily. Well, no, not really unnecessarily. You get what you vote for, as you found out with the SNP. Or in this case, you get what a few fucking idiots vote for, because that's what's happened up there. It says here, in Wales there's also been frustrations, as Andrew Davies, leader of the Conservatives in the Sned, said. Once again, this reinforces the need for Labour ministers in Cardiff Bay to urgently publish the scientific evidence and advice behind its recent decisions. Yeah, and I'll tell you now, good luck on that one, because there won't be any scientific evidence or anything like that. It will be a few models that are made to be as doom and gloomy as possible, as we've seen here. It says the woes were echoed by University of Brighton virologist Dr. Sarah Pitt, who said it does not make any sense for UK nations to have different COVID restrictions. Well, it does make sense, because Old Fish Lips and Drakeford are trying to play a little bit of party politics with Boris. They're hoping it goes bad, and then they can use that against him as a way to gain themselves a little bit more support in their country, I'm betting. Now, further on, she goes on about stuff that I've literally covered by reading up there all the stuff I said in my introduction before I even started reading the article. The rest of it goes on about what Boris Johnson is saying and all of this bollocks, which once again I don't really care about. Something that's got to be said, which is not in here, is the fact that this really helps Boris Johnson look better among his own supporters, or should we say, what few are left of them. Going against what Drakeford and Fishlips wants is obviously going to be a good thing for him politically, even if most of his supporters think that he's a bit of a tosspot, as you know. And of course, if the data continues to go the way it is, then he would be justified, and he will have a nice little political attack weapon against them in Parliament. Doesn't really mean much to us, but it was worth pointing out, I think. Either way, though, this shows that the SNP, Scotland, Wales, Drakeford and all of them tosspots are going to make themselves look like a bunch of cunts if this goes the way it should. And for once I sit here looking forward to an invasion of refugees entering this country to enjoy their New Year's Eve celebrations away from the tyrannical fuckpigs up there. People of Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and shit like that, you are most certainly welcome to enjoy your New Year's Eve in England. I think I speak for most if not all on that one.